All right, guys, this is our episode 1 of our podcast here, and we have with us today Mr. Bryan Robert. Bryan, this is an idea that I've had for quite a long time. We have Colby here, helping us with all the technical side of this, and the vision of this podcast and of these, the content we're going to be creating is to help people through general or generic entrepreneurship, leadership, personal development, right? Anything that can kind of help them in their business journey, whether that be in network marketing or whatever other side hustle as today's gig economy is kicking off. And so I kind of want to take a minute, kind of intro, maybe tell us, our listeners, our viewers out there, a little bit about you, your background, and we can kind of just go back and forth on this.
Well, first of all, I appreciate it. It's funny because over the years that I've been an entrepreneur, and of course you get your ups and your downs, but a lot of the best information or mentorship that I've gotten have been from people that I'm not even doing any sort of business with. It's someone that I've met over time, and I've given advice, was given advice, and been able to share that. So I definitely appreciate it. My background goes probably 30 years now in being an entrepreneur and trying to be an entrepreneur, specifically network marketing. The MLM industry is obviously what I'm known for, and I've done. But as an entrepreneur, you start to realize that businesses are means to an ends. You find good opportunities, different things that are going on. I got started like a lot of people, just invited to a meeting and joined the company. I unfortunately did not have any success with that company for a number of years, but I did catch the vision. I started reading the books. I started listening, of course it was tapes back then. So I'd listen to the tapes and I'd read the books, and I knew there was some way to make money. I just could not figure out how to do it. Then of course, graduated high school, realized college wasn't for me, but still had that vision. I was waiting tables, and just when you talked about mentorship, and I know that's something you talk about a lot, but I found a mentor, and I remember he told me, he says, you're probably not going to find success with the company you're with, even though it's a good company. Like, you need good mentorship and you need a plan. And it was the first time I started kind of thinking more long term. He said, give me 5 years and I'll teach you, this business, this industry. And, of course, in your first thought, you're thinking, who am I? Why is he going to help me? Why would a millionaire help me or something? But then the other thought is, well, but if it's true, I would be crazy not to listen to him. And then I did have a lot of success at a young age, my late teens, early 20s, made a lot of money. Probably blew every dollar that I made.
Before we get into that part, let's talk a little bit about some of those, those steps. Let's dissect kind of what you said a little bit, right? Is you got involved in entrepreneurship, you got involved in a company, and did you immediately have success in that?
So no. Well, earlier on, when I look at it, it looks like, yes, I had huge success when I started working with my mentor very, very quickly. So absolutely. But the whole thing's a journey. So everybody likes to maybe ignore those 3 or 4 years where I had no success.
They like to look at the highlight reel, right? Like social media reel of like what's going on, like all the good parts.
Just like you, Joe, you're an overnight success, right?
After 15 years.
It only took 15 years.
And only 15 years later, right? Yep.
But exactly, yes. So no, there were struggles. I think there's a foundation sometimes that you have to build. I know for sure that I did. I wasn't really ready, at the time. And then sometimes, if you get that opportunity and you're already prepared, well, then you can have that overnight success, right? And so I did. I had a very quick rise in terms of success, became, well-known in this space. But even looking back on that, there was a whole nother journey that I didn't know that was coming. after that part of success.
And I liked what you said at the beginning. You and I heard, I think, another business partner of ours say it today or a couple days ago, is you're on this journey of entrepreneurship, and you have these ups and downs of it, right? You don't know how long this next ride is going to last sometimes.
Sure.
And, in the space that we're in, there's different products that get trendy, and we kind of ride that wave up. And there's different types of compensation plans that are trendy, and we ride that wave up, right? And I think what a lot of people don't understand is they get involved in this industry. They see the overnight success that we've had, which has been, 10, 15 years in the making. And then they start to compare themselves to kind of where we're at, right? Without knowing any of the true background of the true story. They don't know that it's taken us blood, sweat, and tears to build our businesses as well.
Yeah.
And so they see the result, right? It's that iceberg effect. Right? They see the nice house, they see the fancy cars, they see, the traveling around the world and going out to visit different things and see different people and have these relationships all around the world. But we didn't start there. And I think that's a misconception that I like, a lot of people to understand, is that becoming an entrepreneur is a journey, right? And you are taking a risk on doing something for yourself, but you're betting on yourself, right?
Yeah.
And I think what you said about your mentors, like, why would he help me? And I think a lot of people out there that have been entrepreneurs, that have gotten to the mentor level, they want to help other people kind of duplicate themselves and duplicate that success, because they see it as a way to also leave a legacy in business or in the world, right? And so kind of...
Well, just a thought on that, because I've got like 20 thoughts on what you just said. But to jump around, and I'm sure this is going to be a jump around thing, so we apologize everybody that's watching this. But, it's funny, I like what you just said about getting to that mentorship stage. I remember so specifically, I was in Las Vegas and is at Caesar's Palace, which essentially is like a mall, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm not some big gambler or anything like that, but I was walking through, and I'd already started doing business internationally at this point in my career. And that's one of the things I'm most grateful for, was, starting to do business in emerging countries, the Mexicos, the South Americas, the Southeast Asias, things like that. And I remember going through and walking and saying, you know what, there's really nothing I want to buy. That when you buy it's that instant gratification and everything else. And it's like, I don't need another watch. I don't need another suit or pair of shoes. And that's when I got my why. My why, before, when you first start, you have a feeling of what you think your why is, and then I think it's going to change over time. And I thought, you know what I would really like to do? I would like to help someone else have a little more success. I want, my people in this country to have a little bit better life and everything else. And so I do understand now why Barry, did that for me. And of course, there's a way in this industry that it benefits you if you help someone, but, above and beyond, I think that there's a lot of mentors will do, because that is their why. They want to see people find that success and everything. Another thing, when you talk about being an entrepreneur as a journey, I think people, like you said, the highlight reel, they say, oh, well, you've done this, or you made this much money or something, so you must have made, this much every single month or every single year, and they do it like a math equation. It's like, no, been broke some years. Yeah. There's been some rough months, and there's been some really highs, but you're betting on yourself and the idea that you can provide a better life for yourself, that you can get to those goals and dreams that you probably won't be able to do, without something like this. But it is a journey. It's a long path. Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the things, and I'll kind of share my story a little bit with that, right? Because I've had my Barry moment is when I first met you, I was in the Marine Corps. I was, between my first and second tour to Iraq. And I left, and I know I wanted to do what you did. I wanted to have my freedom, because that's what I was looking for. Is I felt like I was going off to war every 4 months, basically, back to back to back. And at this point, I didn't feel the gratitude from the country anymore. So you didn't feel that gratification of going out and serving your country anymore because it just becomes, an expectation. You're expected now to do this. And so I wanted something where I could find my freedom. This is back in 2007, 2008, right when we were hitting the Great Recession. And I know, I was looking for a change in my life financially, right? Or something. I didn't know what it was going to be. And I've always been good at making money. And I talked about my 3 M's of money, right? The first one's making money. I've always been phenomenal at making money. I've traveled around the world by the time I was 20 years old. By the time I was 21, I'd been around the world a few different times, been to a bunch of amazing countries, some not so amazing countries as well, had some great experiences, but I've had a great life. And I then am looking for the next step. And I think there's a lot of people out there that are right now, especially after the pandemic, we're kind of post-pandemic right now, people are looking and trying to figure out what's my next step in life. Do I continue with my job? There's all this great resignation, talk that's going on out there. And I think the pandemic has helped us understand that there is more to life than just working and working and working and working, and we can survive. Right? We can survive without working 40 to 60 hours a week for somebody else. We can maybe get a side hustle. We can maybe become an entrepreneur, have a plan B. And so for me, I guess lucky because I got invited out to Utah. You said, hey, come out to Utah for a few weeks, come stay with us. And I ended up, living with you and Mandy and the family for about 2 years. And that was an experience that was life-changing in a sense where I figured out how to be my own person in business. I figured out what to do and what not to do in business. And I kind of took that experience and kind of expounded on it right over the last, call it 10 years or so, into the creation of the company that we're currently building, the community we're currently building. And so, for me, that journey has been 2 years kind of living in your basement, understanding more about this industry than I probably could have learned from anybody else, and then just kind of catapulting that into something bigger. And
well, what's crazy is timing. So if you really think about it, the timing of whenever we met, there were, I'd already been in the industry for a while. I'd had successes and everything. So I understood network marketing at a certain level, but the world was changing, and it was changing very rapidly. Whenever we started building, you really were thrust into the new style. We started having social media. We started having, can you imagine a Zoom call, right?
Yeah, no,
can you imagine?
Like webinars
back
there,
and I mean, all these different things were changing, and it was rapidly changing. And so one of the things that I think was great about your journey is you still had kind of that foundation of traditional networking, which I still highly believe in, but you exploded your business. You became one of the top networkers in the world as this new way of doing it, was going. And so, it's, and now it's even changing more, and then, I love, what you've done is, there's the vision you've had about, okay, well, we can't be stuck into any one sort of thing because look at how much the world has changed.
Quickly changing.
Crypto, and nobody knew even what this was, whenever we were first getting started. And, it's funny also, and Barry, if you're watching this, and I'll take some of the blame, but, I was good at making money too. I was always good at making money. My mentor never taught me how to manage money and to save money. And I love that that's one of your big values now, because I think I was good helping you make money.
Well, we got to a point where we
Right.
were making, $50, $60, $70, $80,000 a month.
Yeah.
And then I got to a point where, unfortunately, through not fault of us or you
Sure.
or me or anybody directly that we could control, but that business went away essentially overnight.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and like, okay, I had a couple $100,000 in the bank,
Yeah.
but compared to what we were making, that's not
Right.
anything percentage wise.
Yeah.
And that lasted a few months with the expenses. And so it really hurt, right? And it took a lot of, I guess, understanding and a lot of looking inward to figure out what am I doing wrong.
Right.
And I don't want anybody to live through that. And I know I always tell my people, my leaders, when I sit down and I talk to them, the one thing that I want for you guys is that you guys are the most, maybe you guys aren't the highest paid in the industry, which we do have some of those.
Sure.
But I want our leaders, our people to be known for being the most well-off networkers, the networkers with the most personal assets, whether that's, Forex accounts or cryptocurrency accounts, Bitcoin, or just traditional stock accounts, because I think that's what we need to be building towards in this journey of entrepreneurship.
And even not just even with IX, for me, I'm a fan of the industry. You're a fan of entrepreneurs. We're a fan of the industry. There are great companies. There are great people. We have close friends that are doing really well in other places. And so the industry, I just believe that everybody should have that plan B. And it doesn't necessarily mean the plan B is walking away from their job or something. Not everybody is cut out or going to go on the journey, but everybody should be looking to the industry as a way to make a little bit extra, because the one thing that we definitely learned both in 2007 and 7 and 8 and 2020 is that things are uncertain. We don't know, where things are going, and people also they'll miss out on opportunities. And so, for anybody that's watching this, whether they're part of our company or not, it's like save for a rainy day. Put yourself in a situation. If you've got 3 hours a week to dedicate to whatever it is you're doing, it doesn't matter what it is, be solid on those 3 hours a week, 5 hours a week. Like, dedicate yourself to it. Expand. Have multiple streams of income. I remember when I met you and you were just leaving. I was out in California, and you left. You came back, and I remember you having that conversation with me. And we didn't really even talk much the first time when I met you, but the second time we spent a bunch of time. And you came to Utah. The rest has been history, and it's too long right now to go through all the war stories and ups and downs and everything. But I remember a couple things. One, you learned Spanish in about 6 months. I've been working in Latin America for over 20 years, and I still don't speak Spanish. And you're
still trying to learn it,
I barely speak English because I have a Louisiana public school education. But watching that journey and to when you made that decision to start your own company, to start IX, and that vision, I would love to, people that haven't heard it, to lead into that.
Yeah, I think it's been number one out of necessity more than anything, because, through those war stories, those last, 15 years or so, I've gotten really good, and have gotten really good at getting into a company and helping that company start to grow. We've always brought in sales. We brought in, great marketing teams, great visual, people. We've done our events. We've grown markets. We've expanded them into different continents. We've helped them with legal. We've done all the things that we've been good at. That we built a business, a consulting business, basically, and we've done this for other companies. And at the end of the day, we build, I feel, something great, and because of we don't have control of it, it would just start to fall apart, right? They start to make bad decisions. They don't fully understand the behavioral side of, doing network marketing. They don't understand the human side of it. They don't understand, the gravity of changing a back office in, the middle of something. They don't understand data migration. They're lied to and sold to by other people that have their own interests, right?
Yeah.
And so I've seen that happen. It happened to us 3 times.
Oh, yeah.
And I always tell people, look, I've never failed at network marketing. We've always done what we said we were going to do. We've put tens of thousands, if not in your case, hundreds of thousands of people into organizations. We built sales. It didn't matter what the product is. And we've always helped people make an extra income. And I think that's why people have followed us, or they look for us after so many years, because they've always made money with us. And so when I started to realize and kind of tell you at the same time, like, look, we're doing all these things, but it's still not working out. And I know we had some conversations like, well, we can find some good owners, right? Because there's a whole other set of things that you start to have on top of you, like liability, right? As an owner, you have regulatory issues that you now have to look at as an owner. And it's a whole other ball game when you become an owner. But at the end of the day, I just didn't trust anybody else to go out there and do it. And, you know, I felt like I could be really good at doing it because of what I had learned over the last 10 years. And not just helping people make money, but ensuring that they're paid on time, ensuring that they have a good quality product or service that they can put their name behind, and just keeping the lights on, keeping the business going, being innovative, looking for new things that we can bring to market. And it's a team effort at the end of the day. I know I started this, and myself and Viraj and a couple key people started out of India, but it's grown so much bigger than that right now to where, you know, we're in our third year, going into our third year. So we're about 2.5 years right now. And we've gone from, you know, a little tiny company to last month we did over $40 million in sales.
Starting to become a very big company.
Yeah, and so we'll probably end the year off at about 180 million in sales, and that's all over the globe. It's from the U.S. to Europe to Asia, India, and so it's been amazing to see the need. But I also do think, like you said, timing was important. We started this thing right in the middle of right when the pandemic was starting.
Right.
May 2020. And that's when all these countries were going into lockdown. In our type of business before, you had to go out there and put on these conventions and hotel meetings and the infrastructure. And we truly built this business from this little studio right here in Utah without ever having to invest into corporate offices, infrastructure. I knew enough to basically wear every hat in the beginning. Now we're 30 plus employees around the world. But the pandemic was really a blessing for us in helping to create a culture and create a company and a community that can actually go out there and change people's lives. It doesn't matter if you're in India, in Africa, or the US. We have an opportunity for everybody. We have products for everybody. We have packages for everybody. We have education for everybody. And that's what I feel IX, our community, is about helping as many people as we can to innovate, inspire, and impact their lives.
And, you know, and not right now, but later, I would like to do a deeper dive on some of those points, you know, specifically how we have that mindset because we've worked in these countries and we know what it's like when, you know, you're in Mexico or something. We know what it's like if somebody's going to say, I trust you with investing $10 or $100 or $500, and so that's something that it's a longer conversation that we want to get into because, you know, that's something that's at the core of this company and everything else. But I'd like to pay you a compliment, and I know we're going to wrap up for this session right here. But you know, I said it for years. I said, you know, I'm at the point in my career where I'm satisfied with being at a certain point. I said, Joe will eventually, he is going to be far more successful than I am. I've told Mandy, I've mentioned it, you know, said it to you over the years because you've got that drive, you're driven, you know, for something great. And now I'm just excited that I get to be part of that ride, you know. And then the last thing I want to say, I was on calls today. I mean, we're on calls every day, and people I hear the same thing over and over again. I just want a home. I'll take less money if something is going to be here and last long term and everything else. And so I think you've created a home, not only a home for me, but for so many, you know, other people. It's exciting what's happening right now. It's a little overwhelming. You're a much harder worker than I am. If I was in the corporate, we'd already be out of business. And so I'll stick to what I'm good at.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the hard work, and I know everybody else does too.
Thank you. And I know there's still a lot more to do. You know,
Yeah.
we're just 3 years into this thing, and we have big goals as a company. Sometimes that's a little bit scary. But I do feel like that's what wakes me up in the morning. That's what keeps me, driven and disciplined on a daily basis, is knowing there's a lot of people out there that depend on us, that depend on the company. They depend on the income that they make from our company. They depend on our products. They depend on our leadership. And to me, that's humbling, number one. But at the same time, it's a necessity. People need what we have right now all around the world, because the world isn't getting any better. It's getting harder, right? Financial times are, getting harder and harder every day. Recessions and, fear, and the media is going out there and pushing a lot of this, and people do not know where to turn. And what I see IX as is a beacon of hope for people around the world. I see every one of our brand ambassadors that they are a beacon of hope for those around them. And I hope that people can see the vision, can see the products that we have, the value that we can bring to their life, and the change that we can bring through building a community, building a compensation plan, and building a way of life that not a lot of people can enjoy in a lot of these places, like, emerging markets like Mexico or India or Africa. There's people, we just got back from Ghana, Africa, and the way of life
that was
out
eye-opening.
There, it'll change
Very
the way
eye-opening.
change the way you think about your life and your home and the running water that you have and the things that you have in your life. So there's just so much more. That trip probably motivated me more than anything to go out there and find a way to truly help people. Not to give them a handout. It's one thing to go out there, give them some candy and some soccer balls and some clothes. But a lot of these people are looking for a way where they can change their life. And we have that opportunity through our partners in our products at Debt and Xnode, and also through our compensation plan, and teaching them, right, how to go out there and have a better life.
Yeah. I love what they said when we were out there. They don't want handouts. I mean, obviously, they'll take, if you're going to give them something, they want opportunity. They want opportunity, and having them, embrace us because of the work that's not just started, that's been going on for a decade with our partners. It was humbling. It was eye-opening, and same. It got me so excited knowing that we're doing good, and so.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the thing that I want to close with, is I want people to understand that entrepreneurship can lead you, yes, to a better lifestyle. It can lead you to a better way. But then once you have the means to go out there and start having a positive impact in other people's lives, just like Barry had in your life, just like you had in my life, well, that's the pebble in the pond, and the ripple effect that we can create, the impact that we can create through helping just one other person or a couple other people can truly go out there and change a country. It can change the whole world. But that starts with us. It started with us, and that's continually with us every single day, and becoming just a little bit better every day at what we do, whether it's better at business, better as a father, better as a husband, and being that example, again, that beacon of hope for people all around the world.
If you want to make more money, Joe, what do you got to do?
Be a better person.
There you go.
So that's it, guys. Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Bye.